It's the Conservative leadership race, where the Conservatives' backbench warmers fight for the grand prize of losing to Trudeau in the next election.
Currently, there are 13 people, give or take, in the running, or as the Liberals call them, a sucker's dozen.
First up, Deepak Anand. I've never heard of him, so he must be new. No, I'm being told he's the longest continually serving Conservative MP, and he's held his seat since 1997. My bad.
Kelly Leech is the MP who proposed a test for anti-Canadian values, so I bet she hates being on a list next to a guy named Deepak. Personally, I'm hoping Kelly teams up with fellow candidate Michael Chong, because you can't oppose legalizing marijuana when your party's led by Leech and Chong.
Brad Trost. I did a 2-minute piece on this guy a couple weeks ago, so sorry, Brad, you only got 13 minutes of fame left, bud.
Andrew Scheer's entered the race. He did it by accident while trying to find a cafeteria. Scheer is the former House Speaker, so obviously sitting at the front of the House has gone to his head, but just to prove that nobody's ever heard of him, this isn't even Andrew Scheer, this is.
This is Erin OToole. We were going to make a joke about the Tories being used to having a tool for a leader and then show a picture of Stephen Harper, but then we were like, no, we can do better than that. But then we couldn't.
Stephen Blaney entered the race on the weekend and immediately announced his first policy, banning the niqab for public servants. When asked why he wanted to do this, he said, because it's 2015.
Polls show Maxime Bernier is leading all the candidates to this point. In fact, he's almost as popular as this picture of Peter MacKay.
Chris Alexander has entered the race, even though he lost his seat, so he can't so much as enter, Parliament. But when asked about his attempted comeback, he said, failure is part of life. Man, I can't wait for those campaign signs.
Andrew Saxon began his run by bragging about the finance experience he gained by serving under Jim Flaherty and Joe Oliver. So he doesn't know anything about finance or bragging.
Also in the mix is Rick Peterson, which sounds like a name you make up when your wife asks you where you've been. I swear I was at the bar with my buddy Rick Peterson.
Lisa Raitt has announced she's considering running, and if she does, the good thing interim leader Ronna Ambrose isn't allowed to run because then the party would have to make the impossible choice of Betty or Veronica.
Sadly, friend of the show Tony Clement has withdrawn from the race in order to spend more time on his passion, getting beaten up by jocks. But he still holds a seat in Muskoka, which, of course, looks like this.
And if you're at home saying, what about Pierre Lemieux, Dan Lindsay, and Adrian Snow? You must be either Pierre Lemieux, Dan Lindsay, or Adrian Snow.
So who will it be? Well, at least we can rest assured it won't be some loud-mouthed reality. Oh, good.
Catch all the latest from this season of 22 Minutes. Subscribe to CBC Comedy right now. And then watch that. Or is it? It's there, isn't it?